Hello, welcome to another Stat 510 video. This week is week 7, so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Right? Okay, so that's this. Okay, so long story short, this week is not like the previous weeks. The most important thing is that there is nothing you have to do this week. There's no new reading, there's no new video, there's no new homework, there's no new content, period. This week is for you to take the time to prepare yourself for exam 1, which it doesn't happen within this week, but it'll be the following Monday, right? So it's sort of like if you think about how you normally assign a homework during a week and it's due the next week, think of it as if we are assigning you the exam this week and it's happening on the following Monday. That is the 15th. So, yeah. So importantly, the usual office hours, the usual Piazza, but then if you click this, it'll just take you down here. A little bit of info about the exam. So, the most important thing to realize is if you don't understand something about the exam, post on Piazza immediately and we'll answer it. I'm going to try to very quickly right now explain what you need to know about the exam. But if something's unclear, just please ask. So first and foremost, from your perspective, the exam is basically going to feel like a timed homework. So at the start of the exam, you'll be given a PDF with the problems, and then before the exam is done, you'll need to do those problems, create a PDF, and submit it to Gradescope. The sort of only difference will be, there's a time element and a slightly more restrictive set of resources that you have access to. That'll sort of be the only actual differences between doing a homework and doing the exam. One of the tools you need to do the exam you already use regularly, which is Gradescope. The other tool that you'll need for the exam is something called the CVTF Online. The only actual tool there is really Zoom, but I refer to CVTF Online when I'm talking about the combination of the scheduler and the Zoom meeting where you'll be to actually proctor it. But so, long story short, the CVTF Online, you can schedule to take the exam. If you can't take it at the exact time, there's potential for conflicts. You'll see that in the CVTF Online information. I guess long story short, click this link, sign up for the exam. It's self-explanatory. I've never had to explain beyond that to anyone, so it seems like it just works. Then read these two things. So even if you've taken a CBTF exam before, it's very helpful to be familiar with the documentation about the CBTF just to manage expectations and what's allowed, that kind of thing. Okay. Again, do this immediately. Okay. This is when the exam is. Format. So I think I already mentioned this. But long story short, come time of the exam, you will go to the CBTF website. You will check in. You will be given a PDF, and then you will be working on that during the exam time. And you'll have sort of your phone or tablet set up to where someone can monitor you while you're doing that. Okay, content. Everything we've done so far is fair game. And I don't particularly like expanding on that any more than that. But what I will say, though, is that I'm not trying to trick you on the exam. So the types of questions you've seen on the homework, those were meant to prepare you for the types of questions that you'll see on the exam. Obviously, on the exam, I need to be a little bit more careful about the time it takes to complete a question. But my biggest thing here is that let me worry about that. You don't worry about that. You just worry about, like, do I understand the concepts I need to do these questions? Can I do this question? But let me worry about time. If you ask the question, how long is the exam? I'll probably respond in a way that's unhelpful. If you ask me how many questions, any of those sort of, like, it just doesn't seem helpful to think about those things to me. I could write a 1-question exam that's takes you a year to do. I could write a 100-question exam that takes 30 seconds to do. Everything in between. It's just, I don't want you to spend any time thinking about length of exam. I want you to think about, like, do I know the things I need to know to do these problems? So let me worry about time. You worry about content. I generally am very frustrated about how much students try to metagame exam taking, worrying about that. Let me worry about that. Believe me, I spend a lot of time fretting about it. Okay. So the sort of big thing with the CVTF exams is like, what can you do? What can't you do? So allow me to sort of go through that real quick. So by default policy, like obviously you can use like pens and pencils and scratch paper. So those are all just always allowed in the CVTF. Obviously, you'll need a laptop or computer system to actually log in to the CVTF scheduler to get the exam, and also in our case, like go to Gradescope and submit there. Then, in addition to your laptop or computer, you need a phone or tablet to log into Zoom and then point it at your laptop screen and yourself so that someone can proctor you. You can use a calculator, something like this or whatever. I have no restrictions on calculators. Skipping ahead a little bit because you can also use R in RStudio. So if you're using this, you're probably doing something wrong in my opinion. You should probably be using R or RStudio. Okay, you are allowed a sheet of notes. So one sheet of notes, front and back, no funny business, no Mobius strips, no, nothing weird. You can use both sides of it. One thing to note there is, something that I've sort of started getting you into a habit of, I think, is getting you to try to like look up this information here. I'm trying to show you the page of like well-known distributions, their densities and moments and things like that. You don't need to write this on your cheat sheet. If there's a density you need, we'll give it to you. We don't expect you to have that information memorized. So just know that like the exam will be written in a way where like you don't need access to all that information. So there's no need to copy that onto your sheet. You can use outside resources like Symbolab or Wolfram Alpha in particular. Actually, let's just say those two. If there's another one you want, let me know ahead of time. But it's just helpful to specifically note them for the proctor so there's no question about that it's allowed. But basically, I don't want calculus to be a limiting factor on this exam, so you can use integral solver kind of things. Obviously, you can use anything you need to create the document that you eventually upload. So those could be like PDF mergers, imaging programs, whatever. That's obviously necessary. And then R in RStudio. So some things you won't have access to. So no additional notes beyond the formula sheets, no course materials, no books, no additional websites. So what's listed here is what you can use. If you have a question about something, ask me on Piazza. One thing to note that comes up a lot, and this is not like a course thing, this is a CVTF thing, they don't let you use a tablet for like writing up your work. There's reasons for this we don't need to get into. It's basically for proctoring logistics, but that's just the way it is. So please respect that. And I'm telling you ahead of time so there's no last minute having to scramble to use a different system. Okay. If you're a student with DRES accommodations, please contact Carlene immediately. Basically, once you get registered as a DRES student with CBTF, you can sort of just skip DRES and get your DRES accommodations through the CBTF. So once you're known to be part of that system, essentially you can just use the extra time scheduling within the CBTF scheduler to make it as easy as possible. So if you have a DRES accommodation, please let Carlene know immediately. She'll flag you in the system, and you can just then apply those accommodations when you use the scheduler. Okay, academic integrity. Ooh, this should say 510. I'll fix that. But long story short, don't cheat. If you're a graduate student taking a 500 level course and you don't know what cheating is, I don't know how to help you. But so just realize that the CBTF is helping us out a lot here, providing this wonderful proctoring service. And I don't want to do anything to jeopardize the integrity of the CBTF. So if during the course of the exam they flag something as cheating and they want to sort of prosecute that cheating, I will support them because I don't want to let an incident occur and then sort of wave it off and then the CVTF becomes this institution that has less integrity behind it. Like, I want the CVTF to have high integrity, so we will abide by whatever they say with respect to that. So, sorry, this sounds scary to probably 99% of people watching this video, but if that sounds scary, you probably have nothing to worry about. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking like, oh, I'm sure there's a way I can defeat this, you're the person I'm talking to. Like, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's easier to detect than you think, and the risk reward is, it's just not a good calculation for you. Okay. Right. And one more note there too. I think sorry, with this warning, I think sometimes some well-intentioned students stress themselves out in ways they shouldn't. So what I want to say here is that there can maybe be like technicalities that might feel like cheating, but they're not. I'm trying to think of an example of this. But basically, no, I guess I don't have a good example of this. But what I'm saying is, like, if you feel you've operated in a if you feel you've operated with integrity, you probably have, and you have nothing to worry about. But maybe, no, I can't even think of an example. But yeah, so you kind of should know if you're operating correctly or not. Sorry, that was rambling. Okay. One last note. Again, so like, since you can use R in our studio, and you're gonna need to like create PDFs and all that, you just want to make sure all those systems are ready to go on your computer. In theory, if you've been doing the homeworks, you are set up and ready to go with that. But just a note there that, like, don't forget you're using your machine and your phone and your whatever you need. So make sure those systems are all up and running, charged, updated, all that good kind of stuff. Okay, cool. So, yeah. There's an exam happening. You probably want to study. So please do that. Oh, this should say 7. Boy, there's all sorts of typos on this. I gotta fix this. Also office hours, obviously. Please come ask us questions. I generally don't like preparing like a review lecture because I think that's not a great use of everyone's time. Like, it would be a better use of your time if you kind of did that yourself, because then you would be synthesizing the material. What I do think is a good use of my time and your time is me asking any questions you have. So if you have a question, come to office hours and ask it. That question could be something as basic as like, hey, like, you seem to have done this homework question a different way than me. Can you walk me through the solution? That kind of thing. I think that's a really useful exercise potentially, but I don't want to just like preemptively do that unless someone has a particular question they want to see. So please come to office hours with suggestions of things that I can help you with. Right. Okay, I think I've started rambling, so that means it's time to end this video. As always, if you made it to the end, good job, and I will see you in the next one.